Hello there. If you've ever felt that familiar flutter of worry in your chest, perhaps while lying awake at night, or during a quiet moment when the world seemed just a little too loud, there's something gentle I'd like to share with you. That feeling you know so well, the one that tightens your shoulders, quickens your breath, keeps your mind spinning when you'd rather it rest. That feeling has a story, one that began millions of years before you were born. Tonight, we're going to explore the quiet truth about anxiety. Not to fix it, not to fight it, simply to understand it. And perhaps, in understanding, to find a little more peace. So let your body settle wherever you are. There's nothing you need to do right now. Nothing you need to remember. If you drift off to sleep somewhere along the way, that's perfectly wonderful. These facts will be here whenever you return. And if you'd like to help others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time, a like or subscribe is always appreciated. But that's entirely up to you. Now, let's begin with a gentle truth about the guardian within you. Your brain has a built-in guardian that never sleeps. Deep within your brain, nestled in the temporal lobe like a patient sentinel, there exists a structure that has been watching over you since the moment you were born. It works through every hour of every day, scanning the world around you for anything that might cause harm. This guardian doesn't take breaks. It doesn't go on vacation. Even now, as you rest here in the quiet, it remains alert. Though perhaps, as we speak, it can begin to understand that this moment requires no alarm. Researchers have found that this protective system operates continuously, processing information from your senses faster than you could ever consciously track. It is, in many ways, the most loyal part of you. Imagine a lighthouse keeper who has stood watch for generations, beams sweeping across dark waters. Your inner guardian is much like this, tireless, devoted, always looking out for your safety. Perhaps you might notice your shoulders beginning to soften, just slightly, knowing that something within you has been working so hard to keep you safe. And in that softening, there is a kind of gratitude for the part of you that never stops caring, the amygdala, an almond-shaped sentinel deep in your mind. The name of this guardian is the amygdala. In Latin, it means almond. And indeed, this small structure is roughly the size and shape of that gentle nut, tucked away on either side of your brain. Despite its modest size, the amygdala plays an enormous role in how you experience the world. It processes emotions, particularly fear and anxiety, helping you respond to potential threats before your conscious mind has even registered them. Neuroscientists have studied the amygdala extensively, discovering that it forms connections with nearly every other part of the brain. It is a hub of emotional communication, constantly receiving and sending signals. Think of it as a small but important room in the vast mansion of your mind, a room where messages arrive from everywhere, and where decisions about safety are made in the space between heartbeats. You might feel your jaw beginning to unclench as you consider this tiny guardian, no larger than an almond, working so diligently within you. There is something almost tender about its presence. This small, ancient part of you that has been passed down through countless generations. Fear responses travel faster than thought, 12 milliseconds. Here is something remarkable. When your amygdala detects a potential threat, it responds in just 12 milliseconds. That's faster than the blink of an eye. Faster, even, than conscious thought. This means that by the time you become aware of feeling afraid, your brain has already begun preparing your body to respond. The alarm has already been raised. The protective measures already initiated. Scientists call this the low road of fear processing, a neural shortcut that bypasses slower, more deliberate thinking in favor of rapid reaction. It evolved because, in the ancestral world, speed often meant the difference between life and death. Picture a deer in a forest, ears twitching at the snap of a branch. Before it consciously knows what it heard, its legs are already tensing to run. Your brain works much the same way. Perhaps you might notice your hands beginning to relax, a fingers uncurling, as you realize how quickly your body works to protect you. There is no judgment in this speed, only the ancient wisdom of survival, humming quietly in your nervous system. This rapid response once saved your ancestors from predators. Long ago, in a world very different from this one, your distant ancestors walked through grasslands and forests where genuine dangers lurked. Predators with sharp teeth, snakes hidden in tall grass, rival groups competing for scarce resources. In that world, the ancestor who hesitated, who took time to carefully consider whether the rustling in the bushes was a lion or just the wind, often didn't survive long enough to have children. But the ancestor whose amygdala fired quickly, whose body prepared for danger before the mind caught up, that ancestor lived. That ancestor passed their genes to the next generation, and the next, until eventually they passed them to you. Your anxiety, in this light, is not a flaw or a weakness. It is the echo of successful survival strategies that kept your lineage alive for millions of years. Imagine standing in a long line of survivors, each one handing something precious to the next. What they handed you is the gift of vigilance. Your forehead might begin to smooth as you consider this, how even the worry you feel tonight connects you to those who came before. You are here because they were careful, and their care lives on in you. The fight or flight system is 500 million years old. The basic circuitry of your stress response, what scientists call the fight or flight system, is ancient beyond imagining. It first emerged roughly 500 million years ago, in the earliest vertebrates swimming through primordial seas. This means that the nervous system architecture that makes your heart pound and your palms sweat is older than trees, older than dinosaurs, older than the first creatures to walk on land. Over this vast stretch of time, the system has been refined and adjusted, but its core function has remained remarkably consistent. Detect danger, prepare the body, increase the chances of survival. Think of it as an heirloom passed down through an unimaginably long family line, not just from your grandparents or great-grandparents, but from creatures so ancient they would be unrecognizable to you. Perhaps you might notice your breathing beginning to slow, deepening naturally, as you consider the immense age of the system that protects you. There is a strange comfort in this ancientness, knowing that what you feel has been felt, in some form, by countless beings across the long story of life. Fish, birds, and mammals all share your anxiety circuitry. If you've ever watched a fish startle at sudden movement, or seen a bird take flight at an unexpected sound, you've witnessed the same basic anxiety response that operates within you. The fundamental neural structures involved in fear and anxiety are remarkably conserved across species. Fish have them. Reptiles have them. Birds and mammals and primates all share variations of the same protective system. This universality tells us something profound. The capacity to feel anxious is not a uniquely human burden. It is woven into the very fabric of complex animal life. Imagine all the creatures of the earth, the sparrows and salmon, the deer and dolphins, each carrying their own version of this vigilant guardian. In this way, your anxiety connects you to the entire web of life. You might feel your neck beginning to release some of its tension, muscles softening, as you realize you share this experience with so many other living beings. You are not alone in your worry. The whole living world knows something of what you feel. Your worried thoughts are echoes of successful survival. Every worried thought that passes through your mind tonight is, in a sense, an echo from the past. It reverberates from a time when such thoughts served a vital purpose. What if something goes wrong? This question, which may keep you awake sometimes, once helped your ancestors anticipate dangers before they arrived. Did I make the right choice? This reviewing of decisions once helped early humans learn from mistakes and make better choices next time. The thoughts that feel like burdens today were once tools of survival. They have not learned yet that the world has changed, that the threats they scan for are mostly no longer there. Picture these thoughts as old friends who still show up for a job that has largely ended. They don't know the war is over. They're still standing watch. Perhaps you might notice your stomach beginning to soften, the muscles of your abdomen relaxing, as you consider these loyal, outdated guardians. They mean well, these echoing thoughts. They have always meant well. The ancestors who worried most often survived longest. Evolution has a way of selecting for traits that increase survival, even if those traits don't always feel pleasant. And worry, it turns out, was one of those selected traits. Researchers have noted that in the ancestral environment, the cost of a false alarm, worrying about a danger that wasn't real, was relatively low. You might feel some stress, use some energy, but you would survive. The cost of missing a real threat, however, was often fatal. The ancestor who didn't worry enough about the shadow in the grass didn't live to see another sunrise. Over countless generations, this asymmetry shaped our nervous systems. We became descendants of the warriors, the careful ones, the vigilant. Imagine a great family tree stretching back through time, every branch representing someone who worried just enough to stay alive and have children of their own. You sit at the newest tip of that tree. Your feet might begin to feel heavy and warm as you sink a little deeper into rest, knowing that your tendency to worry is, in its own way, a mark of successful ancestry. You come from a long line of survivors, and survivors worry. Anxiety is not a flaw. It was a feature of evolution. So much of what we're told about anxiety frames it as a problem to be solved, a malfunction to be fixed. But evolutionary biology offers a different perspective. Anxiety was not a mistake of evolution. It was, and in many ways still is, a feature, a carefully calibrated system designed to keep you alive. The problem is not that you have this system. The problem is that the system was designed for a world that no longer exists. A world of immediate physical threats rather than emails and deadlines and social media. Your anxiety is like an old map that still shows forests where cities now stand. It's not wrong. Exactly. It's just outdated. Picture holding that old map in your hands, tracing the lines of rivers and mountains that were once here. There's something beautiful about it, even if it doesn't quite match the current landscape. Perhaps you might notice your shoulders dropping another fraction of an inch, releasing tension you didn't know you were carrying. Your anxiety is not broken. It's just remembering a different world. Your nervous system still watches for dangers that no longer exist. Your amygdala doesn't know that you live in a world with locks on doors and refrigerators full of food and emergency services a phone call away. It operates on programming written long before any of these securities existed. So it continues to scan for the old dangers. The predator in the grass, the stranger who might mean harm, the sudden scarcity of resources. It cannot tell that these threats have largely faded from your daily life. This is why your heart might race before a presentation, even though no one has ever been eaten by a PowerPoint slide. Your nervous system is responding to the ancient pattern. Many eyes watching you. Attention focused. Judgment possible. To the amygdala, this feels like being surrounded by potential predators. It doesn't understand conference rooms or Zoom calls. It only knows that many creatures are looking at you, and that has historically been dangerous. Imagine your nervous system as a loyal dog that still barks at the mailman, not understanding that the mailman means no harm. The barking isn't stupidity. It's devotion misapplied. Your jaw might soften again as you recognize this devoted confusion for what it is. Love, expressed through vigilance. The brain cannot distinguish between real and imagined threats. Here is one of the most remarkable features of your fear system. It responds to thoughts almost as strongly as it responds to reality. If you vividly imagine a frightening scenario, your amygdala will begin to activate. Your body will start producing stress hormones. Your heart rate may increase. Your muscles may tense, all in response to something that exists only in your mind. Neuroscientists have observed this phenomenon in brain imaging studies. The same neural pathways light up whether someone is experiencing a threat or merely thinking about one. This is why lying in bed at night, imagining worst-case scenarios, can feel so viscerally stressful. To your ancient brain, the imagined tiger is just as real as a physical one. Picture your mind as a movie theater, and your body as an audience that cannot tell the difference between the film and reality. Whatever plays on the screen, the audience responds. Perhaps you might notice your hands uncurling, fingers relaxing, as you realize that your body has simply been responding to the movies your mind plays. The screen can show different films, gentler ones, quieter ones, and the audience will respond to those, too. This is why thoughts alone can make your heart race. Have you ever noticed how a single worrying thought can set off a cascade of physical sensations? Your heart beats faster. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your muscles tighten. This happens because the brain and body are not separate systems. They are one continuous, interconnected whole. What happens in the mind ripples through the body. What happens in the body ripples through the mind. The amygdala sits at the center of this connection, translating emotional signals into physical responses. When it perceives threat, even imagined threat, it sends messages throughout your body, preparing you for action. This is not a design flaw. In a genuinely dangerous situation, You would want your body mobilized and ready before your conscious mind finished deliberating about what to do. Imagine a river that connects two valleys. Whatever flows into one valley eventually reaches the other. Your thoughts and physical sensations are connected by just such a river. Your chest might begin to feel more open as you breathe, expanding gently, knowing that this connection works both ways. That peace in the body can flow up to the mind, just as worry flows down. Your body responds to protect you, even from symbolic dangers. In the modern world, most of the threats you face are not physical. They are symbolic. A critical email, a social slight, the fear of failure or rejection or not being enough. But your body doesn't know the difference between a symbolic threat and a physical one. The amygdala sounds the same alarm whether you're facing a bear or a difficult conversation with your boss. This is why public speaking, which poses no physical danger whatsoever, ranks among the most common fears. Your body reads the situation. Many people watching. Attention focused. Potential for judgment. And responds as if your life were at stake. The protective response is genuine. The preparation for danger is real. Only the danger itself is different from what your nervous system expects. Picture your body as a faithful guard who is trained for one kind of battle but finds itself deployed in a completely different war. The skills don't quite match the terrain, but the dedication is unquestionable. Perhaps you might notice your forehead smoothing, the small muscles around your eyes releasing, as you appreciate your body's earnest attempts to protect you. It is doing the best it can with ancient tools in a modern world. Deadlines and social worries activate ancient survival circuits. When you worry about a deadline at work, the same neural circuits activate that once responded to predators. When you feel anxious about what someone thinks of you, the same stress hormones flow that once prepared your ancestors to fight or flee. Your brain has essentially mapped modern concerns onto ancient categories. Work problems become threats to resource acquisition. Social rejection becomes danger of exile from the tribe, which, in ancestral times, often meant death. This remapping explains why modern life can feel so overwhelming, even when, objectively, we are safer and more comfortable than any generation before us. Our threats have changed, but our responses have not. Think of it like an old translation program, doing its best to convert modern words into an ancient language. Sometimes the translations are close enough. Sometimes they're wildly off. But the program keeps trying. Your neck might begin to feel longer, lighter, as the tension there dissolves just a little. You are beginning to see the confusion for what it is. Your worried responses to modern problems are not signs of weakness. They are signs of an ancient system doing its devoted, imperfect best. The same chemistry that saved your ancestors now visits you at night. When you lie awake worrying at 3 in the morning, the chemicals coursing through your body are the very same ones that once saved your ancestors' lives. Adrenaline, cortisol, norepinephrine. These are not bad chemicals. In the right context, they sharpen focus, increase strength, prepare the body for rapid action. They have saved countless lives across the sweep of evolutionary time. The difficulty is that the right context has become rare. You don't need to outrun predators or fight off attackers most nights. But the chemistry still arrives, summoned by thoughts instead of tigers. And so you lie awake, body prepared for a battle that will not come, waiting for an all-clear signal that the ancient system doesn't know how to send. Imagine these chemicals as messengers who have run a very long way to deliver an urgent message. They've been running for millions of years. They don't know the emergency is over. Perhaps you might notice your whole body beginning to settle more deeply. Weight releasing into whatever supports you, as you prepare to gently tell these messengers that they can rest now. The danger has passed. The night is quiet. Sleep can come. Cortisol, the messenger that prepares your body for action. Cortisol is often called the stress hormone, but this label doesn't capture its full story. Cortisol is, more accurately, a mobilization hormone. It prepares your body for action. When the amygdala detects a potential threat, it triggers the release of cortisol from your adrenal glands. This hormone then travels throughout your body, raising blood sugar for energy, increasing heart rate for circulation, and temporarily suppressing non-essential functions like digestion and immune response. In short bursts, cortisol is helpful. It gives you the energy and focus to deal with immediate challenges. The problem arises when cortisol remains elevated for too long, never receiving the signal that the crisis has passed. Picture cortisol as a faithful assistant who rushes in during emergencies, rolling up sleeves, ready to help. The assistant is tireless, dedicated, always prepared for the worst. What the assistant needs, occasionally, is permission to take a break. Your stomach might soften as you read this, the muscles of your abdomen releasing, as your body begins to understand that no emergency requires attention right now. The faithful assistant can rest. The crisis line can be quiet, just for tonight. This hormone appears 15 to 20 minutes after stress begins. One fascinating aspect of cortisol is its timing. Unlike adrenaline, which surges almost instantly when you're startled, cortisol takes its time. It typically appears in measurable amounts, 15 to 20 minutes after a stressful event begins. This delay tells us something about cortisol's role. It's not designed for the split-second response. That's adrenaline's job. Cortisol is designed for sustained challenges, for situations that require prolonged effort and attention. In the ancestral world, this made sense. A predator sighting might require hours of heightened vigilance. A territorial dispute might last for days. Cortisol provided the sustained energy needed for these extended challenges. The problem is that modern stressors often resolve quickly. The email is sent. The meeting is over. But cortisol continues its slow rise and even slower fall, leaving you feeling stressed long after the triggering event has passed. Imagine cortisol as a slow-burning candle that takes time to light and time to extinguish. Even after the wind of stress has died down, the flame continues for a while. Perhaps you might notice your breath deepening naturally, each exhale a little longer than the last, gently helping that candle dim. Your whole body listens when the alarm sounds. When your brain decides that something might be dangerous, it doesn't just alert one system, it alerts all of them. Your heart, your lungs, your muscles, your digestive system, your immune system. Every part of you receives the message. This is why stress often feels like a whole-body experience. The butterflies in your stomach, the tension in your shoulders, the shallow breath, the racing heart. These are all your body's systems responding to the same alarm. The signal travels through the autonomic nervous system, the network of nerves that controls automatic body functions. Within seconds, your entire physiology shifts into a state of preparedness. It's a remarkably coordinated response. Really, millions of cells working together, all oriented toward a single purpose, keeping you safe. Picture an orchestra, every instrument suddenly playing the same note at once. That's what happens in your body when anxiety speaks. Every system sounds the same tone. Your arms might feel heavy now, pleasantly weighted, as your body begins to play a different note, a quieter one, a more peaceful one. The orchestra can shift its music. It can play something gentler. Every organ system receives the signal to stay alert. Let's trace the path of an anxiety signal through your body. It begins in the brain, where the amygdala sounds the alarm. From there, it travels through the hypothalamus, which coordinates the stress response. The signal then races down the spinal cord and out through the sympathetic nerves to every major organ. The heart beats faster. The lungs take in more air. Blood vessels constrict in some areas and dilate in others. Digestive processes slow. Even your pupils dilate, letting in more light, improving your ability to spot danger. Your skin produces sweat, cooling you in advance of physical exertion that may or may not come. All of this happens automatically, without any conscious decision on your part. Your body has its own intelligence, its own way of preparing for what it believes is coming. Imagine messages traveling through a vast network of tunnels, reaching every corner of an underground city. That's how the anxiety signal reaches every part of you. Perhaps you might notice your eyes softening, the small muscles around them relaxing, as you appreciate the remarkable communication system that lives within you. These messengers can carry different news. Tonight, the news is that all is well. This is your biology, trying its very best to keep you safe. Every symptom of anxiety, the racing heart, the tight chest, the churning stomach, the scattered thoughts, is your biology trying to help you. It is doing exactly what millions of years of evolution designed it to do. This doesn't make anxiety pleasant. It doesn't make it welcome. But perhaps it can change how you relate to it, just slightly. The tightness in your chest is your body preparing for exertion. The thoughts spinning through your mind are your brain scanning for solutions. The restlessness is your muscles ready for action. These responses are not your enemy. They are your body's attempt to protect something precious. You. Picture yourself as a castle, and your anxiety as the guards rushing to the walls when they hear a distant horn. They don't know if the horn signals friend or foe. They only know their job is to protect what's inside. Your shoulders might drop a little more, releasing tension as you begin to see your anxiety not as an invader, but as a misguided protector. The guards can stand down now. The horn was just the wind. The anxious feeling is not your enemy. It is your legacy. So here is the gentle truth we've been moving toward. Anxiety is not something wrong with you. It is something ancient within you. It is not a flaw to be fixed, but a legacy to be understood. You inherited this capacity for worry from thousands of generations of survivors. It was their gift to you, passed down through blood and bone and neurons, refined over millions of years. Yes, it can feel uncomfortable. Yes, it can keep you awake when you'd rather sleep. But at its core, it is an expression of life's most fundamental drive, the drive to continue. to survive, to make it to tomorrow. Your anxiety is not separate from you. It is woven into the fabric of who you are, part of the complex tapestry of a human being who is, remarkably, alive. Imagine receiving an inheritance from a distant relative, something old, perhaps not quite fitting your modern life, but precious nonetheless. Your anxiety is such an inheritance. Perhaps you might notice a warmth beginning to spread through your chest, a softening around your heart, as you consider this legacy with something approaching kindness. You carry the worry of generations, and still, you breathe. Still, you rest. Still, you find your way to peace. Generations of survivors live within your nervous system. If you could trace your ancestry back far enough, past your grandparents, past recorded history, past the first humans, past the first mammals, you would find an unbroken line of survivors stretching back billions of years. Every single one of your ancestors lived long enough to reproduce. Every one of them navigated dangers, found food, avoided predators, weathered storms, and passed their carefully honed survival instincts to the next generation. These instincts live in you now. They are written in the architecture of your nervous system, in the chemistry of your stress response, in the patterns of your worried thoughts. You are not alone in your body. In a very real sense, you carry your ancestors with you, their hard-won wisdom, their successful strategies, their vigilance. Picture standing in a great hall surrounded by countless figures, each one a link in the chain that led to you. They are all nodding, all understanding, all recognizing the worry you feel because they felt it too. Your feet might feel warm and heavy, grounded, as you sense the support of this enormous lineage beneath you. You are not alone. You have never been alone. When anxiety speaks, it speaks with the voice of your ancestors. That worried voice in your head, the one that asks, "What if?" and "Are you sure?" and "Shouldn't you check again?" is not just your voice. It is a chorus of ancestral voices, all contributing to a conversation that has been ongoing for millennia. These voices evolved because they kept people alive. The grandmother who worried about the approaching storm sheltered her family in time. The grandfather who double-checked the perimeter of camp spotted the predator before it struck. Their caution became your caution. Their questions became your questions. Their vigilance became the feeling that still visits you late at night. The voice is not trying to torment you. It is trying, in its ancient way, to keep you safe. It doesn't know that the dangers it warns about have largely disappeared. It only knows that warning has always been its job. Imagine listening to an old radio broadcast, voices crackling across the decades. Your anxious thoughts are something like this. Messages from long ago, still playing on. Perhaps you might notice your jaw unclenching, teeth parting slightly. As you listen to these old voices with new understanding, they are speaking out of love. They always were. They are simply checking, "Are you safe tonight?" At its core, the question your anxiety is always asking is simple. Are you safe? Is everything okay? Can we relax? Or should we stay alert? This question was appropriate when threats were physical and immediate, when a rustle in the bushes might be a predator, when the answer to "Are we safe?" could determine whether you saw another sunrise. The question persists because the nervous system hasn't fully learned that the world has changed. It still runs its regular safety checks, just as it did when those checks could save your life. And so, at 3 in the morning, or during a quiet evening, or in the moments before sleep, the old question returns: are you safe? Tonight, you can answer. Imagine your anxiety as a child who can't sleep, who keeps coming to your bedside to ask if monsters are real. What does the child need? Not a lecture on probability, not frustration, just a gentle reassurance. Yes, we are safe. You can rest now. Your whole body might begin to settle, muscles releasing, weight sinking. As you prepare to offer that reassurance, the check has been made. The answer is yes. You are safe tonight. And tonight, you can gently answer, yes, I am safe. So here, at the end of our first journey through these gentle truths, let's pause for a moment of reassurance. You are in a place of rest. The doors are closed, or they are not. It doesn't matter, because you are as safe now as any human being can reasonably be. The immediate dangers that your anxiety evolved to detect are not present here. There is no predator in your room, no storm threatening your shelter, no enemy approaching in the dark. There is only you, and these words, and the quiet night. Your ancestors would be pleased to know you have shelter tonight. They would be relieved to know you have food, and water, and warmth. They worried so you could rest. And so, to the ancient guardian within you, to the worried voice that checks and checks again, you can offer this gentle answer: yes, I am safe. We made it. We can rest now. Imagine that ancient part of you receiving this message, finally understanding that the long vigil can pause. The fire can burn lower. The watch can end, at least for tonight. Perhaps your whole body begins to soften now, releasing into the support beneath you, breathing more deeply, heart slowing to a gentler rhythm. You are safe. The guardian can rest. And as the first cluster of facts closes around you like a warm blanket, you carry with you this knowing: the worry was always love, dressed in uncomfortable clothes. And love, like you, deserves to rest. Your brain has two conversation partners, ancient and modern. Within the landscape of your mind, there exists an ongoing conversation between two very different voices. One is ancient, the amygdala we've been learning about, speaking in the language of alarm and survival. The other is more recent, the prefrontal cortex, speaking in the language of reason and reflection. These two brain regions communicate constantly, each offering its perspective on the world. The ancient voice says danger when something feels uncertain. The modern voice can respond, let's think about this before deciding how to act. Neuroscientists have mapped the neural pathways that connect these regions, finding dense networks of communication running in both directions. It is, truly, a conversation, one that happens thousands of times each day. Imagine two old friends sitting across from each other, one cautious and weathered by experience, the other calm and philosophical. They've been talking for a very long time. Perhaps you might notice your chest beginning to feel more spacious, as if room is being made for this inner dialogue to unfold more peacefully. Both voices are part of you, and both, in their own way, are trying to help. The prefrontal cortex, your wise, patient observer. The prefrontal cortex sits just behind your forehead, like a wise elder watching over the proceedings of your mind. This region is responsible for complex thinking, planning, decision-making, and importantly, the regulation of emotions. Unlike the amygdala, which responds in milliseconds, the prefrontal cortex takes its time. It considers context. It weighs options. It remembers past experiences and imagines future consequences. This part of your brain is what allows you to step back from a strong emotion and observe it. Rather than being swept away, it is the source of your capacity for self-awareness, for asking, why am I feeling this way, rather than simply reacting. Picture a gentle observer sitting on a hillside, watching weather patterns move across a valley below. The observer doesn't try to stop the storms, simply witnesses them, knowing they will pass. Your neck might release a little more tension as you recognize this observer within you. Patient, unhurried, always available. You have a built-in witness to your own experience. It has been there all along. This newer brain region can soothe the ancient guardian. Here is something hopeful. The prefrontal cortex has the ability to calm the amygdala. Neural projections run from the thinking brain to the fear center, carrying signals that can quiet the alarm. Researchers have observed this process in brain imaging studies. When people consciously regulate their emotions, through techniques like reappraisal or mindfulness, the prefrontal cortex becomes more active, and the amygdala becomes less so. This means that the wise observer in your mind can actually communicate with the ancient guardian. It can say, in effect, I hear your concern. Let me take a closer look. I think we might be okay. The conversation between these two parts of you is not just metaphorical. It is a physical reality, playing out in the neural circuits of your brain right now. Imagine a parent gently soothing a worried child, placing a steady hand on a small shoulder. That's something like what happens when your prefrontal cortex engages with your amygdala. Your shoulders might drop another fraction of an inch, recognizing that within you exists this capacity for inner soothing. The ancient guardian can be calmed, and you have the tools to do it. Simply naming an emotion can quiet the amygdala. One of the simplest and most effective ways to calm the fear center of your brain is also one of the most surprising. Just name what you're feeling. Neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman and his colleagues discovered that when people label their emotions, saying, I feel anxious or I feel afraid, activity in the amygdala decreases. Simply putting the feeling into words seems to engage the prefrontal cortex, which then sends calming signals to the alarm system. This process has been called affect labeling, and it works even when the labeling is simple and private. You don't need to explain your feelings to anyone. You don't need to analyze them. Just naming them is enough to begin shifting the brain's response. Picture a wild thing that becomes less frightening once you learn its name. The naming somehow contains it, makes it less mysterious, less overwhelming. Perhaps you might notice your jaw softening as you consider this. How something as simple as words can reach the oldest parts of your brain. I feel worried. I feel tense. I feel afraid. These simple acknowledgements carry more power than you might expect. Affect labeling, the science of putting feelings into words. The research on affect labeling has grown substantially over the past 2 decades. Study after study confirms the same finding. Verbalizing emotions reduces their intensity. In one experiment, participants viewed disturbing images while naming the emotions those images evoked. Compared to participants who simply viewed the images, those who labeled their emotions showed reduced amygdala activity and reported feeling less distressed. The effect seems to work through what scientists call symbolic processing. When you translate a raw feeling into language, you move the experience from the primitive emotional circuits into the more evolved language centers. This translation process inherently involves the prefrontal cortex, which naturally begins to regulate the emotional response. Think of it like capturing something wild in a net of words. The words don't make the feeling disappear, but they do make it more manageable, more contained. Your stomach might settle a little as you realize you have access to this tool right now. In this moment, whatever you're feeling tonight, you can name it. And in naming it, you begin to tame it. When you say, "I feel anxious," the feeling often softens. There is a kind of paradox in this. By acknowledging anxiety, you often reduce it. The instinct to push away difficult feelings, to pretend they're not there, actually tends to amplify them. But turning toward them, naming them clearly, often allows them to settle. This may be because the brain interprets acknowledgement as a form of safety. If you can calmly observe and name what you're feeling, some part of your nervous system concludes that the situation must not be too dangerous. If it were truly life-threatening, you wouldn't have the leisure to reflect. So the simple act of saying, "I feel anxious," calmly, without judgment, sends a subtle signal to your brain. We are okay enough to think about this. We are safe enough to observe. Imagine turning to face a shadow that has been following you and seeing that in the light. It's much smaller than you imagined. Naming your anxiety is something like this: a gentle turning toward. Perhaps your hands begin to feel warmer, fingers relaxing, as you recognize that acknowledgement is not weakness, but strength. The feeling is there. You can say so, and in saying so, you become its observer rather than its captive. Your rational mind can speak to your emotional mind. The communication between your prefrontal cortex and your amygdala is bidirectional, but it's not always balanced. Under extreme stress, the amygdala can effectively hijack the thinking brain, flooding it with alarm signals that make rational thought difficult. However, with practice, the rational mind can learn to speak more effectively to the emotional mind. This is, in essence, what cognitive behavioral therapy and mindfulness-based approaches teach: how to strengthen the top-down communication from the prefrontal cortex to the amygdala. The rational mind can say things like, "This feeling is uncomfortable, but it's not dangerous. This has happened before, and we got through it. Right now, in this moment, we are safe." These messages, spoken internally with gentleness and patience, can gradually shift the balance, helping the calming influence of the prefrontal cortex to be heard over the alarm bells of the amygdala. Picture learning a new language, the language of inner soothing. At first, the words feel awkward, but with practice, they become more natural, more fluent. Your feet might feel more grounded now, more connected to the surface beneath them, as you sense the possibility of this inner fluency. You can learn to speak to your own fear with kindness. This conversation has been happening for millions of years. The capacity for emotional regulation, for the thinking brain to modulate the fear brain, is not a recent development. It has been evolving for millions of years, refined through countless generations of our ancestors. Even early mammals had some version of this regulatory system, allowing them to assess threats more flexibly than reptiles could. As the prefrontal cortex expanded through primate evolution, the capacity for emotional regulation grew with it. By the time modern humans emerged, we had the most sophisticated prefrontal cortex of any species, and therefore the greatest capacity to observe, understand, and modulate our own emotional responses. This is your inheritance, not just the capacity for fear, but also the capacity to hold that fear in awareness, to work with it, to soothe it. Imagine a long relay race, one runner passing a baton to the next, and the next, and the next. The baton that reaches you contains both the gift of vigilance and the gift of wisdom. Both have been carried for millions of years. Your breath might deepen naturally as you receive this dual inheritance, the worry and the wisdom. Together, you are equipped for both. The vagus nerve, a gentle bridge between brain and body. There is a remarkable nerve that runs from your brainstem down through your body, connecting your brain to your heart, onkeens, stomach, and other organs. It's called the vagus nerve, from the Latin word for wandering. This wandering nerve is the main pathway of the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system that counterbalances the stress response. When the vagus nerve is activated, it sends calming signals throughout your body. The vagus nerve is bidirectional, which means it carries information in both directions, from brain to body, and from body to brain. This is why slow breathing can calm your mind. The physical action sends a message up the vagus nerve that all is well. Picture a gentle river flowing between two lands, carrying news back and forth. The vagus nerve is this river, connecting the landscape of your mind with the landscape of your body. Perhaps you might notice your breathing becoming slower and deeper as you learn about this built-in pathway to peace. The bridge is already there, waiting to carry calming messages in both directions. This wandering nerve touches your heart, lungs, and stomach. The vagus nerve branches extensively as it travels through your body. It reaches your heart, helping to regulate heart rate. It reaches your lungs, influencing the rhythm of breathing. It reaches your stomach and intestines, affecting digestion. This is why anxiety is felt in so many parts of the body, and why calming techniques that engage the vagus nerve can bring relief to so many different symptoms. When you slow your breathing, you're sending calming signals to your heart. When you relax your stomach, you're allowing the vagus nerve to do its soothing work. When your heart rate variability increases, a sign of vagal tone, you become more resilient to stress. The vagus nerve is like a gentle hand that touches every part of you that tenses during anxiety. And that same gentle hand can help each part release. Imagine a skilled massage therapist who knows exactly where you hold your tension, and whose touch brings relief wherever it lands. Your vagus nerve is something like this, an internal source of comfort. Your heart might feel as though it's slowing, settling into a calmer rhythm, as you become aware of this gentle presence moving through your body. The wandering nerve is working for you, even now. Slow breathing sends calming signals through this pathway. One of the most direct ways to activate the vagus nerve is through slow, deep breathing, particularly breathing where the exhale is longer than the inhale. When you breathe slowly, the mechanical movement of your diaphragm stimulates the vagus nerve. When you extend the exhale, you trigger a reflex that slows the heart rate. The message sent up to the brain is clear. We are safe enough to slow down. This is not a metaphor or a belief. It is a direct physiological pathway. Slow breathing literally changes the chemical and electrical signals traveling through your nervous system. Many traditions have understood this intuitively for thousands of years, from ancient meditation practices to modern clinical protocols. The breath has been recognized as a gateway to calm. Picture your breath as a gentle tide, and your vagus nerve as the shore it washes upon. Each slow, full exhale is another wave of calm washing through your system. Perhaps your breathing has already begun to shift, deepening without effort. As your body responds to this understanding, the pathway to peace runs through your breath, and you have access to it in every moment. Exhaling longer than inhaling activates your rest response. Researchers have found that the ratio of inhale to exhale matters. When you exhale for longer than you inhale, even just slightly longer, you shift your nervous system toward the parasympathetic, rest and digest mode. This happens because the heart naturally speeds up slightly during inhalation and slows down during exhalation. By extending the exhale, you're spending more time in the slowing phase, which reinforces the calming signals. Some techniques recommend specific ratios, inhaling for 4 counts and exhaling for 6. For example, but even a general awareness of lengthening the exhale can be helpful. You don't need to force anything. Just allow each out-breath to be a little longer, a little more complete, a little more like a sigh of relief. Imagine a balloon slowly releasing its air, softly deflating, all tension gently escaping. Your exhale can be like this, a quiet release of what no longer needs to be held. Your chest might feel more spacious now, ribs expanding and contracting with less effort. As you practice this natural rhythm, in and out, in and longer out, the body knows what to do. Your parasympathetic system, the body's natural peacekeeper. Your autonomic nervous system has 2 main branches. The sympathetic branch activates during stress, preparing you for action. The parasympathetic branch activates during rest, helping you recover and restore. The parasympathetic system is sometimes called the rest and digest system because it promotes exactly those functions: restful states and healthy digestion. When it's active, heart rate slows, blood pressure drops, muscles relax, and the immune system functions optimally. This system is always available within you. It's not something you need to create or acquire. It's built into your biology, waiting to be activated. The challenge is that chronic stress can tip the balance toward the sympathetic side, making it harder to access the parasympathetic calm. But with practice, you can learn to invite the rest response more easily. Picture a wise caretaker who tends a garden within you, watering the plants, pulling weeds, making sure everything is healthy and at peace. Your parasympathetic system is this caretaker. Perhaps your forehead begins to smooth, the small muscles there releasing, as you recognize this inner caretaker doing its quiet work. Peace is not something you need to find. It's something you already have. It whispers to your organs that the danger has passed. When the parasympathetic nervous system activates, it sends a very specific message to every part of your body. The emergency is over. The threat has passed. You can return to normal operations. This message travels through the vagus nerve and other parasympathetic pathways, reaching your heart. Slow down. Your blood vessels. Relax. Your digestive system. Resume your work. And your muscles. You can release now. It's like an all-clear signal after a storm warning. The alarm has been cancelled. The shelters can open. Life can resume. Your body is designed to return to this baseline state. Rest is not an indulgence. It's a biological necessity. The parasympathetic system exists because your body knows that constant vigilance is unsustainable. Imagine a gentle voice moving through an empty building after a fire drill, speaking softly into each room. All clear. You can relax now. Everything is okay. Your stomach might settle more deeply. Digestive muscles softening. As this all-clear message begins to spread through your body, the danger has passed. Your organs are listening. Peace is returning. Heart rate slows. Muscles soften. Digestion resumes. As the parasympathetic response takes hold, a cascade of changes moves through your body. Your heart begins to beat more slowly and regularly. The muscles that tensed for action begin to release their grip. Blood flow shifts away from the large muscles and back toward the digestive organs. These changes happen automatically once the rest response is activated. You don't need to consciously relax each muscle or slow each heartbeat. Your body knows how to return to baseline. You just need to create the conditions for it to do so. This is what your body has been waiting for, perhaps for a long time. Permission to stand down from high alert. The heart doesn't want to race forever. The muscles don't want to stay clenched. The stomach doesn't want to stay churning. These states are meant to be temporary, reserved for genuine emergencies. Picture a house at the end of a long day. Lights dimming one by one. Activity settling into stillness. Your body is like this house, ready to enter its evening mode. Perhaps your whole body begins to feel heavier now, pleasantly weighted, sinking into whatever supports you. The day is done. The muscles can soften. Rest can begin. This is the biological opposite of anxiety. The parasympathetic response is, quite literally, the physiological opposite of anxiety. Where anxiety speeds the heart, the rest response slows it. Where anxiety tenses muscles, the rest response softens them. Where anxiety shuts down digestion, the rest response restores it. This means that anxiety and deep relaxation cannot fully coexist in the same moment. They are mutually exclusive states. The more you activate the parasympathetic system, the less room there is for the anxiety response. This is why relaxation techniques can be so effective. Not because they fight anxiety, but because they invite a different physiological state that naturally displaces the anxious one. You don't have to overcome anxiety through force of will. You just have to invite its opposite, gently and persistently, until your body shifts. Imagine light slowly filling a dark room. The darkness doesn't fight back. It simply yields as the light increases. Relaxation and anxiety work much the same way. Your arms might feel looser now, shoulders dropped, as you sense the light of relaxation beginning to fill the spaces where anxiety once lived. The opposite is always available. Peace is just one breath away. Both systems are always available within you. Here is something important to understand. Both your stress response and your relaxation response are always present within you. They are not external things you need to find or acquire. They are built into your biology. At any moment, you have access to the sympathetic system, alertness, energy, mobilization, and the parasympathetic system, calm, restoration, peace. The question is simply, which one is more active at any given time? The goal is not to eliminate the stress response. You need it for genuine emergencies. The goal is to have a more balanced relationship between the two, so that you can shift into rest mode when rest is what's needed. You are never far from calm. It's not somewhere you have to travel to. It's a state that exists within you, always ready to be activated. Picture a light switch with a dimmer. Both positions, bright and dim, are always possible. You just adjust the setting based on what the moment requires. Perhaps you might notice your spine beginning to settle, vertebrae stacking more easily, as you recognize that calm is not a destination but a capacity. You have everything you need. You always have. You have a built-in capacity for calm. Let this truth settle into you. You were born with the capacity for peace. It's not something you lost and need to recover. It's not something others have and you don't. It is woven into the very fabric of your nervous system. Every human being comes equipped with the biological machinery for relaxation. The vagus nerve, the parasympathetic pathways, the chemical messengers that signal safety. All of this is standard equipment. Some people may have an easier time accessing this capacity than others, due to genetics, early experiences, or life circumstances. But the capacity itself is universal. Your work is not to create something new, but to remember and reconnect with something that has always been there. Like rediscovering a room in a house you've lived in for years, a quiet room you'd simply forgotten about. Imagine finding a door you'd never noticed before, opening it, and discovering a peaceful garden that has been growing without your attention all this time. Your capacity for calm is like this garden. Your eyes might soften, eyelids growing heavy, as you recognize that peace has been waiting patiently for you to return. The door is open. The garden is there. You can enter whenever you're ready. Fear memories are stored, but safety memories can be created. The brain is remarkably good at storing fear memories. This was adaptive in the ancestral world. Remembering what was dangerous helped you avoid it in the future. But it can also mean that past fears continue to influence present responses, even when the original danger is long gone. Here is the hopeful news. The brain is equally capable of storing safety memories. When you have repeated experiences of being safe in situations that once felt threatening, the brain creates new associations. Over time, these safety memories can become stronger than the fear memories. This is the principle behind exposure therapy and other treatments for anxiety. By gradually facing feared situations while remaining safe, the brain learns that the old danger predictions were wrong. The fear memories may never completely disappear, but they can be overlaid with newer, stronger memories of safety. The alarm system can be recalibrated. Picture a page that has been written on many times. Older text, fading as new text is added. Your brain's memory systems work something like this. New experiences can write over old fears. Your hands might feel more relaxed now, fingers soft and still, as you realize that tonight itself is a safety memory being created. You are safe here. Your brain is recording this. The brain never truly erases fear. It overlays it with peace. Neuroscientists once believed that fear extinction, the process by which fears diminish, meant the fear memory was erased. But more recent research suggests something different. The fear memory remains, but it is suppressed by a competing memory of safety. This explains why fears can sometimes return, especially under stress. The original fear memory wasn't deleted. It was just quiet, overlaid by the safety memory. When stress weakens the inhibition, the fear can resurface. But this also means that healing from anxiety is not about fighting or destroying your fears. It's about building stronger, more robust safety memories. It's about giving the peace within you more voice than the worry. The fear may always live somewhere in your brain, but it doesn't have to be the loudest voice. It can become a whisper under the stronger sound of safety. Imagine a garden where both flowers and weeds grow. You cannot eliminate the weeds entirely, but you can nurture the flowers until they crowd out the weeds, taking most of the light and space. Perhaps your neck releases another layer of tension, muscles lengthening, as you recognize that peace can grow stronger than fear. The flowers are growing, even now, even tonight. Each moment of safety strengthens peaceful pathways. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change in response to experience, means that every moment of felt safety makes a difference. Each time you consciously notice that you are okay, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with calm. This happens through a process called long-term potentiation. When neurons fire together repeatedly, the connections between them become stronger. The more often you experience and notice safety, the more easily your brain will recognize safety in the future. This is why practices like mindfulness can have cumulative effects. Each moment of present moment awareness, each recognition that right now, I am okay, is a small strengthening of the peace pathways. The changes may be too small to notice in any single moment, but over time, they add up. The brain's default state gradually shifts toward calm. Picture a path through a forest that becomes clearer the more it is walked. Each journey makes the way a little easier to find. Your peaceful pathways are like this, growing clearer with each use. Your whole body might feel more settled now, more at home in this moment, as you recognize that simply being here, safely, is making a difference. Every peaceful moment counts. This one counts. Neuroplasticity means your brain can always learn new patterns. The discovery of neuroplasticity has transformed our understanding of what's possible for the anxious brain. For most of the 20th century, scientists believed that the adult brain was largely fixed, that its patterns, once established, could not significantly change. We now know this isn't true. The brain continues to change throughout life, forming new connections, strengthening some pathways, weakening others. This means that patterns of anxiety, even long-standing ones, are not permanent. You are not stuck with the brain you have today. Every experience, every thought, every practice is shaping the brain you will have tomorrow. This includes the experience you're having right now. As you rest and absorb these gentle facts, the anxious patterns in your brain were learned. They can be unlearned. New patterns can take their place. Imagine clay that remains soft and malleable throughout life. always able to be reshaped. Your brain is like this clay, harder to mold than it was in childhood. Perhaps, but never fully set. Perhaps your breath deepens again, chest rising and falling with more ease, as you recognize the hope in this plasticity. You can change. Your brain can change. It's already happening. The anxious pathways can become quieter over time, just as the pathways for calm can grow stronger with use. The pathways for anxiety can grow quieter with disuse. When you repeatedly choose not to engage with anxious thoughts, not to follow them down their familiar spirals, the neural connections that support those patterns gradually weaken. This doesn't mean suppressing anxiety or pretending it's not there. It means noticing anxious thoughts without automatically following them. It means saying, in effect, I see you, but I'm not going with you right now. Each time you make this choice, you're withdrawing energy from the anxious pathways. Over time, they become less automatic, less compelling, less loud. The worried voice may never go completely silent, but it can become one voice among many, rather than the dominant one. It can shift from a shout to a murmur. Picture a radio station that gradually fades as you drive away from its broadcast area. The signal becomes weaker, harder to tune into. Your anxious pathways can fade like this, still present, but no longer filling every channel. Your jaw might soften again, releasing tension you didn't realize had returned. As you sense the possibility of this fading, the volume is already turning down. You are already driving away. Your brain is remarkably capable of gentle transformation. Consider what we've learned in this cluster of facts. Your brain has a built-in regulation system. It can be strengthened through practice. It operates through physical pathways you can influence. And it is plastic, capable of change throughout life. This means that transformation is possible, not through force or struggle, but through gentle, repeated experiences of safety. The brain doesn't need to be conquered. It needs to be nurtured. Every night like this one, every moment of rest, every gentle breath contributes to the transformation. You don't have to do it all at once. You just have to keep showing up, keep inviting the calm, keep practicing peace. Your brain is not your enemy. It is a remarkably adaptive organ that wants to keep you alive and well. It is doing its best with the information it has, and it is capable of learning new information, new patterns, new ways of being. Imagine a river slowly changing course over time, water finding new channels, new paths to the sea. Your brain is like this river, always moving, always changing, always finding its way. Perhaps your whole body feels softer now, more yielded, more trusting of this process. Transformation is happening. You don't have to force it. You just have to allow it. Tonight, simply resting here, new pathways are forming. And so we arrive at the end of this second journey through gentle truths. Let's pause here, in the quiet between clusters, and recognize something remarkable. Simply by being here, by resting in these words, by allowing your body to soften and your breath to deepen, you are changing your brain. New connections are forming. Peaceful pathways are strengthening. The balance is shifting, ever so slightly, toward calm. You don't need to do anything more. You don't need to try harder or practice better techniques. Just being here, in this state of receptive rest, is enough. your brain is recording this experience of safety. Your nervous system is learning that rest is possible. Your body is remembering what it feels like to be at peace. This is the work. Not fighting, but allowing. Not conquering, but receiving. Not forcing change, but creating the conditions for it to happen naturally. Imagine seeds being planted in soil, invisible, underground, but already beginning the slow work of becoming. Tonight's rest is planting seeds of peace that will grow in ways you cannot yet see. Your eyelids might feel heavier now, the weight of sleep beginning to gather. As you let yourself drift deeper into this planting time, new pathways are forming. The conversation within is growing more peaceful. And you, simply by being here, a part of that quiet miracle. Rest now. The brain will do its work while you sleep. There is a paradox at the heart of anxiety relief. As we move deeper into the night and deeper into these gentle truths, we come upon something that may seem counterintuitive at first. A paradox that, once understood, can change everything about how you relate to your worried mind. The paradox is this: the more you try to get rid of anxiety, the stronger it often becomes. And the more you allow it to be there, the more naturally it tends to dissolve. This goes against every instinct. When something hurts, we want to push it away. When something frightens us, we want to escape. But anxiety operates by different rules. Picture trying to push a beach ball underwater. The harder you push, the more forcefully it pops back up. Your relationship with anxiety can work much the same way. Resistance creates pressure, and pressure needs release. Perhaps you might notice your back beginning to release against whatever surface supports you, as you consider this strange but liberating truth. Sometimes the way out is not through fighting, but through allowing. Fighting anxiety often makes it stronger. When you fight anxiety, when you clench against it, argue with it, try to force it away, you inadvertently send a message to your brain. This thing I'm fighting must be very dangerous. Why else would I be fighting so hard? This message activates the very threat detection system you're trying to calm, the amygdala. Sensing your resistance, concludes that there really must be something to be afraid of. And so it sounds the alarm even louder. Researchers have found that experiential avoidance, the attempt to avoid or control unwanted inner experiences like anxiety, is one of the strongest predictors of psychological distress. The more people try to get rid of their anxiety, the more anxious they tend to become. It's as though anxiety is a finger trap. The harder you pull, the tighter it grips. The way out is not more force, but a different kind of movement entirely. Imagine a knot that tightens when you pull the ends, but loosens when you push them together. Anxiety often works like this, counter to intuition, yielding to gentle approach rather than forceful retreat. Your arms might feel heavier now, sinking into rest. As you consider releasing the fight you may have been engaged in, the battle can end. The knot can loosen. Resisting creates tension. Tension feeds the alarm. When you resist anxiety, your body tenses. Muscles tighten. Breathing becomes shallow. The jaw clenches. The shoulders rise. The stomach contracts. This physical tension is itself an alarm signal. Your brain monitors the state of your body to help determine whether you're safe. When it detects tension, It interprets this as evidence of threat. The body is preparing for danger. The brain concludes, "I should stay alert." And so a cycle begins. Anxiety creates tension. Tension signals threat. Threat creates more anxiety. And the loop continues. Each cycle reinforces the next. Breaking this cycle doesn't require eliminating anxiety. It just requires interrupting the feedback loop, releasing the tension, signaling to the brain that the body is safe, allowing the alarm to quiet. Picture a microphone placed too close to a speaker, creating a feedback screech. Moving the microphone, just a small adjustment, stops the noise. Your body's tension is like that microphone placement, and relaxation is the small adjustment. Perhaps you might notice your shoulders dropping, moving away from your ears. As you begin to adjust the placement, the feedback can stop, the screech can fade, silence can return. The more we push away, the more it pushes back. Psychologists have a name for what happens when we try to suppress thoughts. The rebound effect. When you actively try not to think about something, it tends to come back more strongly than before. This was famously demonstrated in a study where participants were asked not to think about a white bear. The result: they thought about white bears more than a control group that had no such instruction. Anxious thoughts work the same way. The instruction "don't worry" often produces more worry. The attempt to not feel anxious often intensifies the anxiety. This is not a failure on your part. It's simply how the mind works. Suppression creates a monitoring process, a part of the mind that keeps checking. Am I thinking about that thing? And that very checking keeps the thought alive. Imagine trying not to notice your heartbeat. The more you try, the more aware of it you become. Anxious thoughts are like this heartbeat. The effort to ignore them draws attention to them. Your hands might open, palms facing upward, in a gesture of release, as you recognize that you can stop the pushing. Let the thoughts be. They were coming anyway. Maybe now they can pass through more gently. Scientists call this the acceptance paradox. The discovery that accepting negative emotions often reduces them has been called the acceptance paradox. It's a paradox because it contradicts our intuitive assumption that acceptance would mean giving up, giving in, or making the problem worse. But research consistently shows the opposite. When people are trained to accept their anxious feelings rather than fight them, they report less distress and show less physiological arousal than those who try to suppress or control their emotions. Acceptance here doesn't mean approval or resignation. It doesn't mean liking the anxiety or wanting it to stay. It simply means acknowledging that it's present, allowing it to be there for the moment, without adding the extra struggle of resistance. The paradox resolves when you understand that the struggle against anxiety is itself a major source of suffering. Remove the struggle, and what remains is often more bearable than you'd expect. Picture letting go of a rope you've been pulling in a tug of war. The moment you release, the strain disappears. The opponent, your anxiety, may still be there, but the battle is over. Your jaw might soften as you consider this release. Teeth parting slightly, tongue resting. The rope can be dropped, the war can end, peace can begin. Welcoming the feeling reduces its biological grip. Here is something remarkable. When you turn toward anxiety with acceptance, your biology actually changes. Studies using brain imaging have shown that accepting emotions reduces activity in the amygdala and increases activity in the prefrontal cortex. In other words, acceptance is not just a psychological shift, it's a physiological one. When you welcome the anxious feeling rather than fighting it, your brain's threat center calms down and your regulation center strengthens. Cortisol levels drop. Heart rate variability improves. The body shifts from a state of alarm to a state of openness and safety. This is not placebo or wishful thinking. The effects are measurable, replicable, and grounded in neuroscience. Acceptance literally changes the chemistry of your brain. Imagine opening a door to a room you've been afraid to enter and finding that the light inside is warm and the air is sweet. The act of opening, of welcoming rather than barricading, transforms the experience. Perhaps your chest feels more open now, ribcage expanding with each breath, as you consider what might happen if you welcomed what you've been resisting. The door is there. The handle is warm. You can open it whenever you're ready. Acceptance lowers cortisol faster than resistance. Researchers have measured cortisol levels in people using different strategies to cope with stress. Those who practiced acceptance-based strategies showed faster cortisol recovery than those who tried to suppress or control their emotional responses. This makes biological sense. When you accept an emotion, you're not adding the second layer of stress that comes from fighting it. Your body can begin returning to baseline immediately, rather than remaining mobilized for an internal battle. The cortisol that acceptance helps clear is the same cortisol that, when chronically elevated, can damage your health. So acceptance is not just more peaceful, it's actually better for your long-term well-being. Your body wants to return to calm. It knows how. Acceptance simply gets out of the way, allowing the natural healing process to proceed. Picture a wound that heals faster when left alone than when constantly picked at. Your emotional system works similarly. It heals better when not continuously disturbed by struggle. Your stomach might settle more deeply, releasing residual tension as you let your inner healing proceed without interference. The body knows how to heal. Trust it. Monitor and acceptance theory explains this gentle truth. Scientists have developed frameworks to explain why acceptance works so well. One influential model is called monitor and acceptance theory, which proposes that attention to present experience, combined with acceptance of that experience, is key to reducing stress. The theory suggests that monitoring your experience, noticing what you're feeling, is only helpful when combined with acceptance. Monitoring without acceptance can actually increase distress, because you become hyper-aware of negative feelings while still fighting them. But when acceptance is present, monitoring becomes a neutral observation rather than a critical evaluation. You notice the anxiety without judging it, labeling it without fighting it, allowing it to be there without demanding that it leave. This combination, mindful attention plus acceptance, consistently outperforms other strategies in reducing both subjective distress and physiological markers of stress. Imagine a scientist observing a phenomenon with curiosity rather than fear. The scientist doesn't need the phenomenon to change in order to study it peacefully. This is something like the stance acceptance invites. Your eyes might feel softer now, gaze turned inward with gentle curiosity. As you observe whatever is present without needing it to be different, notice, accept, allow. The formula is simpler than you might have thought. Mindfulness, combined with acceptance, calms the stress response. Mindfulness, the practice of paying attention to the present moment with openness and curiosity, has been extensively studied for its effects on stress and anxiety. The research is clear. Regular mindfulness practice reduces anxiety symptoms, lowers cortisol, and changes brain structure in ways associated with emotional regulation. But mindfulness alone is not quite enough. The key ingredient, research suggests, is acceptance. Paying attention to anxious feelings while judging yourself for having them doesn't help much. Paying attention with acceptance, that's where the magic happens. This is why mindfulness programs increasingly emphasize acceptance as a core component. It's not just about being aware of your feelings. It's about being aware of them with kindness, without the extra layer of self-criticism or struggle. The present moment, it turns out, is usually quite manageable. It's only when we add stories about the past and worries about the future that it becomes overwhelming. Picture this moment, right now, stripped of all stories, just sensation, just breath, just being. In this simple now, where is the anxiety? Perhaps it's present. But is it unbearable, or is it simply here? Your breath might deepen naturally as you settle more fully into this moment. This one, the only moment that actually exists. Here, now. This much is manageable. Open monitoring meditation reduces cortisol in saliva. A specific type of meditation practice, called open monitoring, has been shown to reduce cortisol levels measurably. In open monitoring, you simply observe whatever arises in your experience. Thoughts, feelings, sensations, without trying to focus on any particular thing or achieve any particular state. The instruction is essentially, notice what's here. Let it be. Notice what comes next. Let that be too. Studies measuring cortisol in saliva before and after open monitoring sessions find significant decreases. The practice seems to signal safety to the nervous system, allowing the stress response to settle naturally. This is meditation without striving, without goals, without trying to reach some special state, just being present with whatever is, accepting it as it is, moment by moment. Imagine sitting by a stream, watching leaves float by. You don't need to catch any particular leaf. You don't need to stop the flow. You just watch. And in the watching, something settles. Your whole body might feel more fluid now, less held. More like the stream than like something fixed and rigid. Let things flow. Let them come and go. The watching itself is the practice. Simply observing without judgment changes brain chemistry. The act of non-judgmental observation, watching your experience without labeling it good or bad, produces measurable changes in brain chemistry. Neurotransmitter levels shift. Stress hormones decrease. Feel-good chemicals like serotonin and dopamine can increase. This happens because judgment is itself a form of threat detection. When you judge a feeling as bad, dangerous, or wrong, you're activating the brain's alarm systems. When you observe without judgment, you're signaling that no alarm is needed. The brain takes its cues from how you relate to your experience. Relate with fear, and the brain responds with more fear. Relate with acceptance, and the brain responds with calm. You have more influence over your brain chemistry than you might realize. Not through controlling your thoughts, but through changing how you relate to them. Picture holding something delicate in your hands without squeezing. The grip is light, respectful, undemanding. This is how to hold your own experience. Present, aware, but not grasping. Perhaps your hands actually soften now, fingers loosening, palms open. Hold lightly, judge not. The chemistry will follow. Self-acceptance increases serotonin production. When you practice self-acceptance, treating yourself with kindness rather than criticism, your brain responds by producing more serotonin. This neurotransmitter is associated with feelings of well-being and calm. The opposite is also true. Self-criticism activates stress pathways and can decrease serotonin. Harsh inner dialogue is not just emotionally painful, it's physiologically damaging. This means that how you talk to yourself actually shapes your brain chemistry. The voice you use, kind or cruel, accepting or rejecting, sends signals that influence which chemicals are produced. You have the power to be your own source of soothing, not through delusion or denial, but through genuine compassion for the human being that you are, anxiety and all. Imagine speaking to yourself the way you would speak to a dear friend who was struggling. What would you say? What tone would you use? That voice is available to you for yourself. Your forehead might smooth again, releasing the furrow of self-judgment as you consider speaking more gently to yourself. Kindness is chemistry. Compassion is medicine. You can prescribe it for yourself. Oxytocin, the comfort hormone, rises with self-compassion. Oxytocin is sometimes called the bonding hormone or comfort hormone. It's released during positive social interactions, physical touch, and moments of emotional warmth. It reduces stress, promotes healing, and creates feelings of safety and connection. Remarkably, you don't need another person to trigger oxytocin release. Self-compassion, treating yourself with the same kindness you would offer a suffering friend, can increase oxytocin levels on its own. This means that the comfort you seek from others is also available from within. You can be a source of warmth for yourself. Your own kind attention can trigger the chemistry of comfort. The anxious part of you, the part that feels alone and afraid, can be held by another part of you, the part that understands, that accepts, that offers compassion, and this internal holding has real physiological effects. Picture wrapping yourself in a warm blanket, feeling the softness against your skin. Self-compassion is like this blanket, a comfort you can provide for yourself. Anytime. Your neck might release another layer of tension as you imagine this internal warmth surrounding you. You can hold yourself. You can comfort yourself. The oxytocin is already flowing. Each moment of acceptance rewires neural connections. Every time you practice acceptance, every time you meet an anxious feeling with allowance rather than resistance, you're strengthening the neural pathways for acceptance. You're literally rewiring your brain. This happens through the same neuroplasticity we discussed earlier. Neurons that fire together wire together. The more often you respond to anxiety with acceptance, the more automatic that response becomes. At first, acceptance may feel effortful, unnatural, something you have to consciously choose. But with repetition, it becomes easier. The pathway strengthens. The new response starts to feel like second nature. You are not just coping with anxiety in this moment. You are training your brain for a different relationship with anxiety in all future moments. Imagine carving a new channel for water to flow through. At first, it takes effort, but once the channel is established, water flows through it naturally. Your acceptance practice is carving just such a channel. Your spine might settle more deeply as you recognize the long-term significance of this moment's practice. Every acceptance matters. Each one is a stroke of the chisel, shaping the channel. The brain learns what we practice. This is perhaps the most empowering truth about the brain. It learns what we practice. Whatever we do repeatedly, we become better at. Whatever pathways we activate regularly become stronger. If you practice worry, you become better at worrying. If you practice acceptance, you become better at accepting. This puts remarkable power in your hands. You are not a passive recipient of whatever brain you were given. You are an active sculptor, shaping your neural architecture through your choices and practices. Every moment is a practice, right now. As you rest here, you are practicing something. You are practicing rest, safety, allowing, peace. And your brain is learning. Picture a musician who becomes better at playing through daily practice. Your brain is the instrument, and your responses are the music. What kind of music do you want to play? Perhaps your whole body feels like an instrument now, playing a quiet, peaceful melody. Practice peace. Become peaceful. The brain will follow where you lead. Practicing peace creates more peaceful pathways. When you practice peace, when you consciously cultivate calm states, when you choose relaxation over tension, when you respond to stress with acceptance, you are literally building the neural infrastructure for a more peaceful life. The peaceful pathways grow stronger. The anxious pathways grow quieter. The brain's default state gradually shifts. This is not magical thinking. It is the documented science of neuroplasticity applied to emotional well-being. Change is possible. Peace is learnable. Calm can become your brain's preferred state. The journey may be gradual. Decades of anxious patterning don't dissolve overnight. But every step in the direction of peace makes the next step easier. Imagine walking along a beach, where each footprint makes the sand a little firmer, a little easier to walk upon. Your practice of peace is making just such footprints, a path others might follow, including your future self. Your feet might feel more connected to the surface beneath them, more grounded, more supported. You are building a path. Keep walking. Accepting negative emotions improves psychological well-being. Large-scale studies have consistently found that people who habitually accept their negative emotions, rather than judging, suppressing, or struggling against them, report higher levels of psychological well-being. This correlation holds even when researchers control for the frequency and intensity of negative emotions. In other words, it's not that accepting people have fewer negative feelings. It's that they relate to those feelings differently. And the different relationship makes all the difference. Acceptance doesn't make bad feelings good. It simply makes them more bearable. And in making them bearable, it frees up energy that would otherwise go toward fighting them. This freed up energy can be directed toward what matters: relationships, creativity, rest, growth. The resources that resistance consumes can be reclaimed. Picture untying a heavy weight that you've been carrying everywhere. You don't throw it away. It's still there, but it's no longer strapped to your back. You can set it down, Your shoulders might drop as you imagine setting down the weight of resistance. The feeling is there, but you don't have to carry it so hard. This has been shown in laboratories and in daily life. The benefits of acceptance have been demonstrated in controlled laboratory experiments, where participants are assigned to different emotional regulation strategies and their outcomes are measured. But perhaps more impressively, these benefits also show up in studies of daily life. When researchers track people's emotional experiences and coping strategies over days and weeks, those who use acceptance more often show better emotional health. This means acceptance isn't just something that works in artificial conditions. It works in the messy, complicated reality of actual living. It works at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep. It works during difficult conversations. It works when worry arrives uninvited. The research is robust enough that acceptance has become a central component of evidence-based treatments for anxiety, depression, and chronic pain. Imagine a tool that has been tested in every environment and found to work reliably. Acceptance is such a tool. Practical, portable, proven. Your chest might expand with quiet confidence as you recognize that this approach is not just philosophy, but established science. The tool is in your hands. It has been tested. It works. Long-term studies confirm the power of gentle acceptance. Longitudinal research, studies that follow people over months and years, provide some of the most compelling evidence for acceptance. These studies show that acceptance predicts better outcomes not just immediately, but over time. People who cultivate acceptance habits show cumulative benefits. Their mental health improves gradually. Their resilience increases. They become more able to handle life's inevitable stresses. This suggests that acceptance is not just a coping technique for immediate relief, but a way of being that supports long-term flourishing. The investment you make in practicing acceptance today pays dividends far into the future. Each moment of practice contributes to a trajectory of well-being. Picture a garden that becomes more beautiful with each year of tending. The flowers you plant today will bloom next spring. The tree you nurture will provide shade for decades. Acceptance is like gardening your inner life. Your hands might feel more purposeful now, as if holding invisible seeds. Plant today, harvest tomorrow. The garden grows. You don't have to like anxiety to accept its presence. There is a common misunderstanding about acceptance, that it means liking or approving of what you're accepting. This isn't true. Acceptance is not about preference. It's about acknowledgement. You can accept that it's raining without liking rain. You can accept that you have a cold without wanting to be sick. And you can accept that anxiety is present without being happy about it. Acceptance is simply the recognition that something is already here. It's already the case. Fighting that reality doesn't change it. It just adds suffering to an already difficult situation. I don't like this feeling, and I accept that it's here. These two statements are perfectly compatible. In fact, they're the essence of wise acceptance. Imagine acknowledging that the sky is gray today. You didn't choose the gray sky. You don't prefer it, but arguing with the sky won't make it blue. So you accept it and get on with your day. Perhaps your jaw softens again as you release the requirement that you must like everything you accept. It's here. It's real. You don't have to like it. You can still make peace with it. Acceptance is not approval. It is acknowledgement. Let's be very clear about what acceptance means. Acceptance is not saying this is fine. It's saying it's not condoning or endorsing. It's simply recognizing what is already true. When you accept anxiety, you're not saying anxiety is good or that it should stay. You're saying it's present right now, in this moment, and you're choosing not to add resistance to its presence. This distinction matters because many people resist acceptance, thinking it means giving up or letting the anxiety win. But acceptance is actually the opposite of giving up. It's engaging with reality as it is, rather than wasting energy fighting what's already here. Acceptance is the foundation for effective action. You can't change what you're denying, but once you accept what is, you're in a position to respond wisely. Picture a doctor accepting that a patient has a certain condition, not approving of the illness, but acknowledging it clearly so that treatment can begin. Your stomach might settle as you recognize that acceptance is the beginning of healing, not the end of trying. Acknowledge what is. Then, from that clear place, respond. You are here, and that's okay. Perhaps the simplest expression of acceptance is this: you are here, and that's okay. You can say this to your anxiety directly, as if speaking to a part of yourself. This acknowledgement, you are here, is simply stating what's true, and the addition of that's okay is choosing not to add judgment or resistance. These 5 words can be a complete practice. When anxiety arises, you notice it. You acknowledge. You are here. You choose non-resistance. That's okay. And then you see what happens next. Often, something shifts. The anxiety, which was bracing for a fight, finds that no fight is coming. The energy that was preparing for battle has nowhere to go. And in that openness, the feeling often begins to settle on its own. Imagine greeting an unexpected visitor at your door. You're here. You say, "That's okay. Come in." The visitor, finding a warm welcome, relaxes. Your whole body might feel more welcoming now, more spacious, as you consider offering this greeting to your own anxiety. You are here. That's okay. Welcome. When anxiety is allowed to sit, it often settles. One of the most consistent findings in anxiety research is that feelings allowed to be present tend to dissipate on their own. Like waves on the shore, they rise, peak, and recede, if we let them. The problem is that our resistance often prevents this natural process. By fighting the wave, we keep it elevated. By trying to force it down, we create turbulence. But if we simply allow it, it follows its natural course. Most anxious feelings, when left alone, will begin to decrease within 10 to 20 minutes. The intensity peaks and then naturally declines, as the nervous system's arousal response runs its course. Your work is not to make the anxiety go away. It's to create the conditions in which it can go away on its own. And the primary condition is allowance, just letting it be. Picture a startled bird that, if left undisturbed, will eventually settle back on its perch. Your anxiety is like this bird. It needs stillness, not chasing. Your breath might slow even further as you practice providing that stillness, that non-interference. Let it be. It will settle. Nature knows how, like a guest who just needed to be seen. Sometimes anxiety persists not because of what it is, but because of how we respond to it. When we ignore it, suppress it, or fight it, we inadvertently communicate that it's not welcome, and it keeps knocking louder, trying to get our attention. But when we turn toward it, acknowledge it, see it clearly, something changes. The anxiety, like a guest who just needed to be noticed, often calms down. Psychologists sometimes speak of emotional validation, the process of recognizing and accepting your feelings as understandable, even if you don't like them. Self-validation is just as important as validation from others, and anxiety often responds well to it. I see you. You can say to your anxious feeling, I understand why you're here. You're trying to protect me. This seeing, this understanding, is often enough to allow the feeling to ease. Imagine a child tugging at your sleeve, wanting attention. If you keep ignoring the child, the tugging continues. But if you stop, kneel down, and make eye contact, the child often relaxes. Your anxiety can be like this child. Perhaps you can feel that anxious part of you being seen right now, being acknowledged. I see you. You're welcome here. You can rest. The resistance to anxiety causes more suffering than anxiety itself. As we come to the end of this third cluster of gentle truths, let's crystallize what we've been exploring. Often, it is not the anxiety itself that causes the most suffering, but our response to it. The fighting, the resisting, the judging, the trying to make it go away. These add layers of suffering on top of the original discomfort. They turn a passing weather pattern into a permanent storm. This is good news, actually, because while you may not be able to fully control whether anxiety arises, you have significant influence over how you respond to it, and changing that response can dramatically change your experience. Anxiety may still visit, but it doesn't have to stay so long, feel so intense, or dominate your inner landscape. When met with acceptance, it can come and go like any other weather. Picture anxiety as rain. You can stand outside fighting the rain, getting soaked and exhausted. Or you can open an umbrella of acceptance, staying dry while the storm passes. The rain is the same. The experience is transformed. Your whole body might feel lighter now, having set down some of the weight of resistance. The rain will come. It always does. But you have an umbrella, and the storm always passes. Rest now in this knowing, as we prepare to move into the final cluster of gentle truths. We have come to the final cluster of gentle truths. Through the night, we have traveled together through many territories. The nature of anxiety itself, the brain's remarkable ability to change, the paradox of acceptance. And now, as rest approaches, we arrive at perhaps the most tender truth of all. The gentle return, the coming home to yourself. Anxiety so often feels like an exile, like being lost in a foreign land, cut off from peace, separate from the person you want to be. But here is something worth knowing. You were never truly lost. The way home was always there, waiting. Perhaps you might notice your body settling even more deeply now, as if remembering something it once knew. The journey home begins with a single truth. You are already here. You are not broken. You are human. If there is one thing this night of gentle truths has tried to convey, it is this. Anxiety does not mean something is wrong with you. It means you are human. A human with a brain that was built to protect you from danger. The same neural machinery that allowed your ancestors to survive predators. to find food, to raise children, to build civilizations. That machinery is what creates your anxiety. It is not a defect. It is an inheritance. Your anxiety is proof that your survival system is working, perhaps working a bit too hard in a world that is safer than your ancient brain realizes. But working. You are not broken. You were built this way. Millions of years of evolution shaped the very brain that now worries. That brain kept your lineage alive. And here you are. Picture yourself as the latest flower on a very old vine. Every ancestor who came before you survived long enough to pass on their genes. Your anxiety is part of what got them. And you, this far. Your chest might expand with quiet pride as you recognize your place in this unbroken chain. You are not a mistake. You are a miracle, the product of countless survivals. Anxiety is a sign your protection system cares. When anxiety arises, it is because some part of you perceives a threat. That perception may or may not be accurate, but the underlying motivation is clear. Protection. Your anxiety wants you to be safe. It wants you to survive. It wants you to avoid pain and danger. This wanting, this caring, is actually a form of love. Misguided sometimes, overactive often, but love nonetheless. What if you could see your anxiety as a worried parent rather than an enemy? A parent who sometimes goes too far, who sees danger everywhere, who doesn't know when to stop hovering. But a parent whose fundamental motivation is your well-being. I know you're trying to help. You might say to your anxiety, "Thank you for caring. I'm safe right now." This reframing doesn't make anxiety disappear, but it changes your relationship with it. Fighting an enemy feels different than reassuring a worried protector. Imagine a guard dog that barks at every noise, including harmless ones. You wouldn't beat the dog for barking. You would train it, gently, to recognize what's actually dangerous. This is your work with anxiety. Your shoulders might soften as you consider treating your internal protector with more compassion. The barking comes from love. Meet it with love. The anxious mind is trying to solve problems. When your mind spins with worry, it is attempting something useful: problem solving, threat assessment, future planning. These are valuable cognitive functions that have helped humanity survive and thrive. The problem is not that your mind is doing these things. The problem is that it doesn't know when to stop. It keeps trying to solve problems even when no action is needed. It keeps assessing threats even when you're safe. It keeps planning even when the best plan is to rest. This is not malfunction. It is overfunction. A good thing taken too far. You can acknowledge the mind's good intentions while also setting boundaries. Thank you for thinking about this. I'll address it tomorrow. Right now, we rest. This kind of gentle redirection honors the mind's purpose while containing its success. Picture a diligent worker who doesn't know when to go home. You wouldn't fire such a worker. You would thank them for their dedication and help them clock out. Your forehead might smooth as you imagine gently clocking out your overworking mind. The work is done for tonight. You can rest. You have survived every anxious moment so far. Consider this. You have a 100% survival rate for anxious moments. Every panic you've ever felt, you survived. Every worry that kept you up at night, you got through. Every overwhelming feeling that seemed unbearable, you bore. This is not meant to minimize your suffering. Those moments were hard, but you're still here. You made it through all of them. This track record matters. It is evidence, real evidence, that you can handle anxiety. Not that it's pleasant or easy, but that you have the capacity to survive it. When the next anxious moment comes, and it will, you can meet it with this knowledge. I've survived every single one before. This one will pass too. The anxious mind often predicts catastrophe, but your actual history tells a different story. A story of resilience. A story of making it through. Imagine looking back at a mountain range you've crossed. Every peak seemed impossible when you faced it, and yet here you are, on the other side. The peaks ahead may look daunting, but you've proven you can climb. Your breath might deepen with quiet confidence as you remember your own proven strength. You've done this before. You can do it again. Every hard night has eventually become morning. No matter how dark the night, no matter how long the hours of sleeplessness, morning always comes. The sun rises. The darkness lifts. This has been true every single time. Anxiety often creates the illusion of permanence. This feeling will never end. I'll always feel this way. The darkness convinces you it is forever. But look at the evidence. Every anxious night you've experienced has ended. Every dark period has eventually lifted. The feeling that seemed permanent proved temporary. This doesn't mean you should just grit your teeth and wait. There are things that help, things we've explored tonight. But it does mean you can hold on to hope, even in the darkest moments. This too shall pass. It always has. Picture the horizon beginning to lighten, the first hints of pink and gold appearing in the sky. That dawn is coming. It always does. Your body might feel lighter as you remember that darkness never lasts forever. The night is long, but it will end. Morning is coming. Your nervous system can return to peace. The activated state that anxiety creates is not permanent. Your nervous system has built-in mechanisms for returning to calm. The parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest mode, is always waiting to take over when the perceived threat passes. Sometimes this return to peace happens quickly. Sometimes it takes longer, but it always happens eventually. Your body wants to return to baseline. It's designed to. The practices we've explored: breathing, acceptance, self-compassion. These support the natural return that your nervous system already knows how to make. You're not fighting against your biology. You're working with it. Trust your body's wisdom. It has been returning to peace after activation for as long as you've been alive. It will do so again. Imagine a pond disturbed by a thrown stone. The ripples spread. The water churns, but left alone, the pond inevitably returns to stillness. Your nervous system is like this pond. Your whole body might feel like settling water now, ripples slowly fading. Stillness is your nature. You will return to it. Sleep is your birthright. You were born knowing how to sleep. No one had to teach you. From your earliest days, your body knew how to surrender to rest, how to let go of waking consciousness, how to drift into the restorative darkness of sleep. Anxiety may have complicated this natural process, but it hasn't erased it. The capacity for sleep is still there, encoded in your biology, waiting to be accessed. You don't have to learn how to sleep. You only have to remember, to get out of the way of what your body already knows. Sleep is not something you do. It's something that happens when you stop doing, When you release the efforting, the striving, the trying to control, when you surrender to the natural rhythms that are older than your worries, picture a child falling asleep, effortlessly, naturally, without any technique or strategy. That capacity is still within you. The child is still there. Your eyelids might feel heavier as you remember this ancient knowing. You were made for sleep. It will come. Calm is your natural state. Under the anxiety, beneath the worry, behind the racing thoughts, there is a calm that has always been there. It's not something you need to create. It's something you need to uncover. Anxiety is like clouds covering the sun. The sun doesn't go anywhere. It's always shining, even when you can't see it. Your inner calm is like this sun, always present, sometimes obscured, but never extinguished. The work is not to manufacture calm, but to remove what's blocking it, to let the clouds part, to let the sky clear, to let the sun shine through. This is actually easier than it sounds, because you don't have to push the clouds away. You just have to stop holding on to them. Let them drift. They're made of air. They'll pass on their own. Imagine lying on your back watching clouds drift across the sky. You don't have to chase them away. You just watch, and they move. And slowly more and more blue appears. Your face might relax as you imagine the clouds of anxiety drifting, revealing the calm sky behind. The calm is there. It's always been there. Let it shine through. You are allowed to rest. Somewhere along the way, many of us internalized the message that we always need to be doing, producing, achieving. That rest is lazy, that we haven't earned the right to relax. This is a lie. Rest is not a reward for productivity. It is a biological necessity. Every living creature rests. The most successful people in history have understood the importance of rest. You are allowed to rest simply because you are human. You don't need to accomplish anything to deserve this moment of peace. You don't need to have solved all your problems. You don't need permission from anyone. Right now, you are allowed to rest, to let go, to stop striving, to simply be. Imagine receiving a permission slip, signed by everyone whose approval you thought you needed. You're allowed to rest. It says, "Go ahead." Your whole body might sink deeper into support as you accept this permission. You're allowed. Rest now. You can trust the night to hold you. The night is not your enemy. It is a container, a holer, a time set aside for restoration. For millennia, humans have surrendered to the night, trusting the darkness to bring rest. The night holds you the same way it held your ancestors around their fires, the same way it holds every sleeping creature on the planet right now. Billions of beings, resting together in the turning of the earth away from the sun. You are part of this great resting, connected to every sleeper, every dreamer, every creature returning to restoration. The night holds all of you together. Let the night hold you. It knows how. It's been doing this since the first living thing needed rest. Picture the night as a vast, gentle presence, cradling the whole world in darkness. You are held within this presence, safe, supported, part of something much larger than your worries. Your body might feel more held now, more supported, as you allow the night to embrace you. The night is holding you. Let yourself be held. Your worry doesn't have to come to bed with you. You can set boundaries with your anxious thoughts. You can tell them, with kindness but firmness, that they're not invited into this particular space. Imagine worry as a companion who has walked with you all day. At the bedroom door, you can turn to this companion and say, "Thank you for your company, but you need to wait out here. I'm going to rest now." This is not suppression, which we know doesn't work. It's boundary setting. You're not denying the worries exist. You're just telling them when and where they're welcome. The worries will still be there in the morning if you want them. They're not going anywhere. But for these few hours of night, they can wait outside. Picture leaving your worries in a box by the door. They're safe there. You can pick them up tomorrow. But for now, the box stays closed, and you go to rest. Your mind might feel clearer as you imagine setting this boundary. The worries can wait. Sleep cannot. Prioritize accordingly. Tomorrow will have its own solutions. So much of anxiety is about the future. What might happen? What could go wrong? How you'll handle challenges that haven't yet arrived. But here's what's often forgotten. Tomorrow you will be a different person than you are tonight. You'll have new energy, new perspective, new ideas. Problems that seem unsolvable in the fatigue of night often have obvious answers in the freshness of morning. You don't have to solve tomorrow's problems tonight. In fact, you can't. The solutions belong to tomorrow's you, not tonight's you. Tonight's job is only to rest. Trust that tomorrow you will be capable. That person has resources you can't access right now. Let them handle what's theirs. Picture handing a folder labeled "Tomorrow's Problems" to your future self. That person takes it with confidence. They'll handle it. You can let go. Your hands might open, palms releasing, as you hand over what isn't yours to carry tonight. Let tomorrow take care of tomorrow. Tonight, just rest. Every ending is also a beginning. This night is ending, but morning is beginning. This chapter of your life is ending, but a new one is beginning. Every exhale is the end of one breath and the beginning of another. Anxiety often focuses on endings, on losses, on what might be taken away. But every ending carries within it the seed of a beginning. This is the fundamental rhythm of existence. You have been through many endings, some painful, some welcome, all leading to new beginnings. This too is part of the gentle return, recognizing that the cycle continues, that nothing is final, that life keeps renewing itself. Whatever you're anxious about ending, something will begin. Whatever you're afraid of losing, something will be gained. This is not just optimism. It's the pattern of everything that exists. Imagine the last leaf falling from a tree in autumn, and at the same moment, the first bud forming invisibly inside the branch. Ending and beginning, always together. Your chest might expand as you breathe in this truth of continuous renewal. Endings lead to beginnings. Always. Peace is available in this breath. You don't have to wait for circumstances to change to experience peace. You don't have to solve all your problems first. You don't have to achieve some future state. Peace is available right here, right now. In this very breath. It's not somewhere else, not in some other time. It's here. This is perhaps the most radical truth of all, that what you're seeking is already present, that you don't have to travel anywhere to find it. that the peace you long for is as close as your next inhale. The mind says, "I'll be peaceful when," but the body knows better. Peace is now or never, always now. Take a breath. Feel it fill you. Feel it leave. In that simple movement, peace is available, not as an idea, but as an experience. Picture peace not as a destination, but as a frequency that's always broadcasting, waiting for you to tune in. You can tune in now, right now. Your whole body might feel more attuned as you realize peace is not elsewhere but here. Here, now, peace. It's been here all along. You are more than your anxiety. You have many parts. Anxiety is just one of them. There's also joy in you, and curiosity, and love, and creativity, and humor, and wisdom, and so much more. Anxiety can be loud. It can take up a lot of space. It can make you forget about your other parts. But they're still there. They haven't gone anywhere. You are not your anxiety. You are the awareness that contains anxiety, along with everything else. You are the sky, not the clouds, the ocean, not the waves. This larger perspective can bring relief. The anxious part is just a part. It doesn't define you. It doesn't control you. It's one voice among many in the chorus of your being. Imagine stepping back and seeing yourself from a distance. You see a human being who happens to experience anxiety, but you also see everything else that human being is. So much more than just anxiety. Your sense of yourself might expand as you recognize your fullness. You are vast. Anxiety is just a small part of who you are. This moment is exactly as it should be. There's a part of the mind that's always comparing this moment to some other moment, some better moment in the past, or some ideal moment that could be. This comparison creates suffering. But what if this moment, just as it is exactly right, not in the sense that it's perfect or pleasant, but in the sense that it couldn't be any other way? This is what is. Every moment is the product of everything that came before it. Every cause leading to this effect. In that sense, this moment is the only moment that could exist right now. It's exactly what the universe is doing. This isn't fatalism. You still have choices. But recognizing that this moment is as it should be can bring a kind of peace, a letting go of the argument with reality. Imagine accepting this moment as a gift, even if it's wrapped in strange paper. It's what's here. It's what you have. It's where life is happening. Your body might relax its resistance as you accept what is. This moment is yours, just as it is. Accept it. You are held by something larger. Whatever your beliefs about the nature of existence, there's something larger than your individual worries holding everything together. Call it the universe, or life, or the ground of being, or simply the larger patterns that contain your small patterns. Your anxiety, as big as it feels, is a small thing in a very large existence. This isn't meant to minimize your experience, but to put it in perspective. The vastness holds your smallness. You are like a wave on the ocean. The wave might churn and foam and crash, but it's never separate from the ocean that holds it. And eventually, it returns to the stillness from which it arose. Let yourself be held by whatever larger holding you can sense. You don't have to hold yourself up all alone. You can lean into the larger support. Picture yourself floating on your back in a warm sea, supported by the water. You don't have to swim, you just have to float. The water holds you. Your whole body might feel more buoyant, more held, as you sense this larger support. You're not alone. Something holds you. Let it. The night is winding toward rest. We have traveled far together through these 100 gentle truths, through the nature of anxiety and the brain, through the paradox of acceptance and the chemistry of calm, and now here, at the end, to the gentle return, the return to peace, the return to rest, the return to the deep knowing that you are safe, you are held, you are more than your worries. Let everything we've explored tonight settle like sediment to the bottom of a pond. You don't need to remember it all. Your body has been listening. It remembers. Picture all the truths we've shared dissolving into your being, becoming part of you, available when needed. Your whole system might feel more settled now, more integrated. The teaching is complete. Now comes the rest. Sleep beckons with soft invitation. You don't have to chase sleep. You just have to let it find you. And it will. It always does. Eventually, your body knows how to fall asleep, just as it knows how to breathe, to digest, to heal. Sleep is approaching even now. As you rest here, you might feel it at the edges, a heaviness in the limbs, a softening of awareness, a gentle dimming. Don't grasp at it. Don't worry about when it will come. Just remain open. Let yourself be available. Sleep knows where you are. Picture sleep as a gentle presence moving through the room, coming closer, preparing to wrap you in its embrace. Your eyes might feel heavier, ready to close. Sleep is coming. Let it come. Your body knows what it needs. You don't have to figure everything out. Your body has wisdom that predates your conscious mind. It knows when to sleep, when to wake, when to eat, when to rest. Trust it. The anxiety mind tries to manage everything, but the body has been handling things successfully for a very long time. It kept you alive when you were an infant with no conscious plans. It keeps you breathing while you sleep. It heals your cuts without your supervision. This same body wisdom can guide you toward rest, can tell you what you need, can lead you home. Picture turning over the controls to a wise autopilot. You can stop managing. You can let the body's wisdom take over. Your whole body might feel more trusted now, more appreciated for its quiet wisdom. Your body knows. Trust it. The work of the day is done. Whatever you did or didn't accomplish today, it's done now. The day has ended. A line has been drawn. You cannot go back and change anything. This is actually a relief. All the things you wish you'd done differently, the things you left unfinished, the things that went wrong, they belong to a day that's over. You don't have to carry them into the night. Let the day be complete. Let it close like a book. Tomorrow is a new chapter. But for now, the story pauses. Picture setting down a heavy bag at the end of a long walk. The bag contains everything from today, all the weight of its events. You set it down. You don't have to carry it while you sleep. Your shoulders might drop as you set down the weight of the day. The day is done. Let it go. Tomorrow is a new beginning. When you wake, everything will be fresh. A new day with new possibilities. Whatever happened before, tomorrow is a chance to start again. This is one of the great gifts of life, that every day offers a new beginning, that we get to try again, that the mistakes of yesterday don't define the possibilities of tomorrow. Wake with hope when morning comes. Not naive hope that ignores difficulty, but grounded hope that recognizes the reality of fresh starts. Picture the sunrise, light spreading across the world, illuminating everything anew. That sunrise is coming. You will wake to it. Your heart might feel lighter as you anticipate the freshness of morning. Tomorrow is coming, and it's full of possibility. For now, just this breath. All the gentle truths we've explored tonight come down to this simplest practice. Just this breath, just this moment. Nothing more is required. You don't have to understand everything about anxiety. You don't have to master all the techniques. You don't have to be different than you are. Just breathe. Just be here. Just let yourself rest. This breath is enough. This moment is enough. You are enough. Picture everything fading except this one simple thing. Breath moving in, breath moving out. Nothing else needed. Your awareness might narrow to just this simple movement of breath. Just this. Just here. Just now. Let everything else fall away. The thoughts can go. The worries can wait. The planning can pause. For now, let everything else fall away and just rest. You've done enough. You've been enough. You can stop. The night will hold you. The breath will continue. Sleep will come. And in the morning, you'll rise. But for now, nothing is required. You can simply be. Picture dropping into a softness, a quietness, a stillness that asks nothing of you. Your whole being might feel simpler now, lighter, quieter. Let everything go. Rest now, and know that you are held. As this journey of gentle truths comes to a close, carry this final knowing into your sleep. You are held by the night, by your breath, by the larger rhythms of existence, by whatever love surrounds you. You don't have to hold yourself up. You can let yourself be held. The anxiety may visit again. It's part of being human. But now you have some gentle truths to meet it with. Some ways of being with it that cause less suffering. Some pathways back to peace. Remember, you are not broken. You are human. And humans rest. Picture yourself held in vast, gentle hands. Safe, supported, cared for, ready for sleep. Your whole being might feel ready now. Ready to surrender. Ready to rest. Ready to return to the peace that was always there. You are held. Sleep now.